Okay, so what's my low and my high on act of kindness today? I guess I would say that my low is I procrastinated in getting up this morning, and I don't really have much stuff to do anyway, but I still kind of wish I got up a little bit earlier. My high is the fact that for the most part I actually spent the evening with my father yesterday. That was actually, quite nice. And my act of kindness is while I was with him, I wound up doing something important for him. So that was actually really cool. And so with that said, I have to get on with today's topic because I meant to talk about this yesterday, but then AGT premiered and I had to talk about that because America's Got Talent always takes precedence over what I'm about to talk about. But no more distractions. Here I go. Good morning. Happy hump to everyone. So you guys know that now that I actually have a Netflix, I actually have been watching shows on Netflix, as you do. Now, the Cuphead show was the first show I watched, when it first premiered. Because I was getting ready to talk about, because I was going to talk about that show anyway, so I might as well watch it now. The show I'm about to talk about today is the first live action show that I've seen all the way through. And that show is Mr. Iglesias. Now, for those of you who don't know, there is a stand-up comedian named Gabriel Iglesias who obviously is really famous, and I'll get into what he does in a minute. And he got a sitcom in which he plays a history teacher to students at this one place called Wilson High School. I think it's in California. The point is, it was a really good show. But before I go further into detail about this show, I should probably talk about Gabriel Iglesias himself. Because, full disclosure, he's one of my all-time favorite comedians. I can tell you right now, every legit major stand-up special he ever did, I've seen. Hot and Fluffy. I'm not fat, I'm fluffy. Aloha, Fluffy. Sorry for what I said when I was hungry. One size fits all. I think that was the one he was in San Francisco. I've seen them all. So needless to say, back when this show first came out in 2019, I was sad because I never really got to watch it because I didn't have a Netflix then. They did put the first episode up on YouTube, and I did watch that, and I do remember liking it. But it had been obviously a couple years since I'd seen it, so I had to start over from the very beginning. And right away, you get exactly what the status quo of this show is supposed to be. It starts out with Gabriel Iglesias Mr. Iglesias teaches a class in which they're finishing up spring semester of their freshman year. But it turns out a lot of them are getting essentially, counseled out. Basically, their grades aren't doing that well, so they have to be, taken out of school and go somewhere else. And Mr. Iglesias says, listen, I'll sacrifice my summer and help them through summer school. And, if they pass, they won't get counseled out. That's what they call it. When really they're just, because really the phrase is no child left behind when they are legit leaving children behind. But they're calling it counseled out so it sounds politically correct or something. And throughout the first season, you get to know Mr. Iglesias, you get to know his class, you get to know his co-workers. And they're just all really fun people. Not to mention, Gabriel Iglesias makes this show. A good show. A good show is only as good as its antagonist, and I'll get to that in a second. But this show would not function like it did without, Gabriel Iglesias doing what he does. And that actually does remind me about his stand-up. I mean, let's be real here. Gabriel is a big guy. He's not fat, he's fluffy. I had to say that. I absolutely had to say that. Now, a big guy doing stand-up comedy or really doing any comedy in general, it's nothing really new. It's been going on forever. Even more so when you consider the fact that over time, as you know, people got to be more open and accepting, embracing the fact that they're a big guy, made things even more, mainstream. But Gabriel Iglesias just has that sort of charm about him. Like that sort of combination of, yeah, I'm a big guy, but I can also do funny voices. The way he acts out a story too. Like, he does a really good job of being very descriptive without being condescending sounding either. He really is I'll never forget this. I think it was the promotion for the One Size Fits All stand-up tour he was doing. And in the trailer, obviously they're talking to audience members saying what they think of Gabriel Iglesias. And one of them's like, he's like that friend, that neighbor that at the very end of the day, you want to hang out and talk to, maybe get a drink or something. I'd say get a drink, but in Mr. Iglesias, he is actually a recovering. Actually, I don't think they straight up said he's an alcoholic, but he did quit drinking, obviously. But actually, he does go to AA, so yes. I mean, I don't straight up say he's an alcoholic, but let's just say for the sake that he does go to Alcoholics Anonymous, he is an alcoholic, I guess. I don't know. But even in difficult times during the show, his students are in trouble and they don't know what to do, or Mr. Hernandez, the vice principal, who's sort of a good foil for the show, even though he does have some good moments too. His character always just stayed positive. And yeah, he does, even he gets a little discouraged and a little bit sad sometimes, but then it's up to the rest of the staff to bring it on home. And they do. Seriously, the kid actors they got for this show are pretty solid. I mean, they're teenagers, probably young adults, so it's not too surprising. I mean, Marisol, Mikey, Lorenzo, Rakeem, Glenn, pretty much everyone in this show is good. And the first season is essentially Gabriel saving the students from getting counted out, and then pretty much going through all fall semester sophomore year for the academic decathlon. And then season 2 is broken up into 2 parts. Yeah, the show was canceled after 2 seasons. I'll get to that in a second. The first part of season 2 was everyone getting ready for the school play, which Mr. Hernandez, the vice principal, is also the drama teacher. So, they have to get ready for that. And they're doing Romeo and Juliet. And, Marisol and Mikey actually have... Because it was very clear from the very beginning that Mikey has a crush on Marisol. And they're playing Romeo and Juliet. And so, by the end of that first part of the second season, Marisol really likes Mikey too, to the point where they were going to do a peck on the cheek for Romeo and Juliet, but they straight up, did, lips touching or whatever. And right before season 1 ends, it turns out that they hire a school counselor named Jackie, who winds up becoming Mr. Iglesias' girlfriend. And I thought it was a really, sweet sort of thing. And the very end of the second season ends with a school dance, with the final moment of Mr. Iglesias and Jackie doing like a slow dance, like in the I was doing slow like doing a slow dance over. I mean, yeah, it really is sad that this show got canceled. Because this show clearly could have gone on for at least, well, let's see. Because season 2 ended essentially fall semester of these students' junior year. Meaning you would have had to do spring semester of junior year and all their senior year. I mean, and there were so many things that, like, were Mikey and Marisol going to be, together? Because Marisol wanted to go to Stanford. Was, Lorenzo going to finally calm down about, the government always watching him? Stuff like that. Or were Mr. Iglesias and Jackie going to get married? I mean, don't get me wrong. The fact I'm very sure the fact that they were slow dancing at the end of the second season was indicator like, okay, that's clearly foreshadowing for like if they get married, they're going to do their first slow dance as like husband and wife or whatever. I don't know. It's probably it. The point is, this was actually a really good show. It was fun. It was funny. It was led by a really great cast that had fantastic chemistry with one another. Like, the relationship between, Mr. Iglesias and his students, it's completely genuine. The relationship that Mr. Iglesias has with the rest of his other faculty members, that seems genuine too. But it really helps when you have someone like Gabriel Iglesias who is just a genuine guy. Again, like I just said earlier about that one promo for one of his stand-up specials, like he's that friend, that neighbor that you want to hang out with. Like, yeah, I totally want to hang out with Gabriel Iglesias if I had an opportunity to do so. And don't get me wrong, I actually had some really good teachers back when I was in high school. But I kind of wish I had Mr. Iglesias as a teacher now. He was really good. But again, I'm very happy with all the pretty much all the teachers that I had in my time at Horses and Trinity Poly. Thank you. But sorry. I mean, I don't really know what else to say other than, if you're a fan of Gabriel Iglesias, and that's actually the thing, like, it is rare to find really anyone, be they fictional or non-fictional, where they're just straight up beloved by like different genders, races, a couple cultures, and even some religions actually, who really love Fluffy. They love him. I love Fluffy too. I mean, I have seriously yet to find anyone who's just straight up say they dislike Fluffy. At all. And it's easy to see why. I mean, I've even said this once before. One of my all-time favorite comedic stories is from Gabriel Iglesias, The Gift Basket. It's in my Mount Rushmore of comedic stories. Of course, I had to give the show a watch, and having been a couple years since I saw the one pilot episode on YouTube, I am legitimately glad I saw this show. I think you should all give it a chance, if you're able to. I mean, all in all, it's only 21 episodes. About the typical length of your average, the typical length of your average sitcom special. So, it shouldn't be, that long. I essentially binge watched it over the span of, a couple of days. I finished it on Monday morning. But, with America's Got Talent coming out, that had to take, some priority over that. But I'm here now. I'm here to talk about Mr. Iglesias. And I'm here to tell you that if you are looking for something to watch on Netflix, nothing too long, again, 2 seasons, 21 episodes, it's not going to overstay its welcome, obviously. Although it's going to leave you wanting more because, again, this show was, canceled. So really at this point, all I can do is speculate on what could have been. And honestly, I like to think that eventually, the students that Mr. Iglesias taught, they wind up, graduating and going to college, especially with Marisol going to Stanford. And somehow Mikey working hard enough to get in too. And what can I say? I'm a sucker for romance. I forget the ginger kid's name. I'm so sorry. But that kid coming to terms with, actually coming to terms with that his father's not out of the picture, but that's okay because he became a better person for it. Lorenzo finally calming down. Glenn opening up more and more. I think those students, let's say if the show got a proper send-off, I'm sure those students would have made all of their, aspirations come true. As for Mr. Iglesias himself, I like to think that, he and Counselor Jackie, probably got married. They probably had their wedding after the students' graduation. I can actually totally see the students being some of his groomsmen too. That'd be really cool. That'd be something really special to watch. And then them getting married and again having Mr. Iglesias and Jackie doing, a first slow dance as husband and wife. That'd be really cool. But alas, it's not meant to be. So, because of that, I can't really properly give this thing an S tier. Definitely A tier for sure. It literally had everything going for it. It just got, the powers that be just caused it to get canceled is all. Regardless, this is a very good show. I highly recommend it if you watch, especially if you love Gabriel Iglesias as a stand-up comedian. And who knows, maybe you'll probably pick up on some things that even, I should probably also talk a little bit about too, how they actually try to touch on social issues as well. I could do that, but honestly, I've talked long enough. Go watch this show. This is a good show. Like, favorite, share, subscribe button. Find me on social platforms on YouTube. I'm your helmet. This video. For you guys are watching, go for the game. Have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Remember, you want to talk or channel, we should be here to learn. Always have your back. Take care and make good choices. Have a nice day.